What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning back into the channel. I'm going to come at you with another course review here. This course was recommended as something that I should definitely play test and check out. I ended up playing it and immediately knew that this was such a quality course that I wanted to get out and put it on the channel for a review so that way you guys all know about it and can play it as well. It has gotten a good amount of play, so it's not some deep hidden secret of a course to play here. This is called the Dickensian G.C. Kent, par 72. Difficulty is easiest, handicap not rated yet. The yards is 7,000 yards, and it has been reviewed 1,300 times. The course plays firm and medium to fast greens. There's only one tee box, really only all you need. 4 pin locations, and let's get right into it. So I'm going to jump right into the big likes that I have about this course. This course did a really good job of the way that it was set up. And what I mean by that is I really enjoyed the pin locations and the shots that you have to hit into the pin locations. I played both the Sunday tees and the Friday tees in my 2 play tests, and I really enjoyed the situations that they put the pins in. All of the pins on this course are in a situation where you have a small window of success, but you also can play it smart by hitting to the fatter parts of the green. But in all honesty, you have to be shooting birdies on this course because if you're not, somebody else will be. So it really opens the door for a lot of penalization of shots that aren't hit perfectly. Sometimes pins are the last bit that people think about. And if you are not considering every single pin location of where it's going to be and where the penalties are for missed shots, you're not going to be able to make a design that's going to be extremely competitive, as well as something that people are going to want to play over and over again with their friends. But that is something that immediately drew my attention. Of the majority of these pins are just in a really good spot. The next big thing that I really enjoyed was the extreme detail in all of the water and the rocks around the holes. That is something that can kind of get lost at times, and I'm not sure, I did not speak with the designer, but I think something that really makes or breaks a course is the time that people are willing to spend in the minor details of how it sets up. So if I show you here this 10th and 11th hole, if you pay attention to the design in the pond, right? There is rocks placed perfectly all around to make it that realistic image that you want to see in a course. It's got the lily pads in the water, free-flowing water all in the same direction, and it has a lot of the design that you would really entice you to want to play and just imagine that you are actually out there on a real course. And that is something that really caught my eye, that this designer took the time and effort it takes to really hone in on the small details around the water or the edges of the golf course. Trees obviously can make or break a course, but that is not the minor details that really catches my eye when I watch this. It's more of the stuff that certain designers will kind of pass by saying nobody really cares about, but this is definitely something that people care about, and it's the minor details that really give it an applause. So the first hole up is hole 4. Hole 4 is definitely an interesting hole because it allows you to play this hole so many different ways. It is 380 yards long, and it has a river intersecting between the end of the fairway and pretty much the fringe area or the beginning of the green. The big thing that I really enjoyed about this course is you have to decide how much you're going to push the ball down. If you're someone who is really good with the pitch shot, then you're someone who's probably going to want to hit the driver. But if you hit the driver, it's bottlenecking and it's a very risk reward, because if you catch it downwind or it's also 21 feet down elevation, you potentially could run that into the water. Or you can lay back, hit the fat part of the green, but if you're hitting the fat part of the green, it is a very small green to hit into with a lot of risk around it as well. So it's definitely not going to be as easy for you to hold the green if you're shooting from somewhere about 150 to 170 yards out, because the greens are a little bit hard and a little bit fast. Next up, we have hole 8. And hole 8 was another course that was able to design a really good, challenging par 3 that I thought was one of the more enticing holes on this course. He did a great job with the water work and the wood around the green to make it that realistic, like holding the landmass up. But it's got 31 feet of elevation, so that's going to account for about 10 yards, and you have to account for that as well, on top of a wind that could potentially be problematic. all shooting into a very small green. You know, the green shape isn't anything crazy, but when you have to account for elevation and wind into a small area, you really don't want to leave this short, and you can't go long either because you're on a downhill, heavy rough situation. So this is another hole that I thought was a very great design. Next up is hole 13. Hole 13 I thought was a perfect design of something that allows for a kind of change of pace. And that pace was changed because you're hitting a driver into a pretty wide open fairway on a par 5. So you're like, I'm definitely hitting the fairway here, gonna get there in 2. And then once you hit your shot and then you start looking at your second shot, you get down to the green, and I really enjoyed the design of the green because it is down 150 feet. So you definitely are going to account for a crazy deal about that. And then on top of that, you are not hitting into the best situation possible because you're going to hit your first shot, and your first shot is going to hit a wide open fairway. It's not too challenging. You're pretty much like, I'm going to get there in 2. This is going to be pretty easy, nothing crazy. And then you get to your second one. You're going down 61 feet, so you're playing the elevation game again, into a green that is pretty protected by 2 bunkers. And then on top of that, it has a steep drop off right on both ends. What I really enjoyed about this hole was the green. So I mentioned the pin locations earlier, and the designer made a 2-tier green here, which is something that really caught my eye. And in this situation, you have to carry that first bunker unless you're going to roll it up using a fade. But once you carry it, if you don't hold that green with a lot of spin, which is obviously going to be extremely hard of because you're going to be hitting a hybrid into it, you're going to roll right down to the backside of that green. So with the pin location in the back, yeah, this is a very favorable hole. But if you're playing the Sunday pins and that pin is up front, tucked behind that bunker, it is going to be extremely hard for you to hit close on this hole. Last hole of my 4, I have hole 18, the ultimate finishing hole. Something that will really put you in an uncomfortable situation. If your competition is not settled yet on 18, then this hole can really drastically change everything. You have a drivable par 4 over a tree to a small area completely surrounded by water. On top of that, if you wanted to play the safe route, you have a beautiful shot straight out to an open fairway that then gets hit over a nice design of a hole to close out your beautiful course. So you can choose 1 or 2 ways to play this. I love the options that you feel. Anyone who hits fast in this dilemma might end up in a bad situation, might end up in the water, completely changing where they finish in this competition or just in any round that they are playing. All in all, I think the green difficulty on this hole is also quite a bit of a challenge and is something that I admire as well. Just covering any dislikes that I did have about this course. Once again, not too many dislikes. The one gripe that I did have is the river design on hole 5. I thought that was a little bit more of a lazy river, and they did such a great job throughout all of the water features in this entire course that this was the one body of water or running area of water that they thought that they kind of went lackadaisical with it and did not complete the entire mission that they were trying to assemble with the rocks and the lily pads and just the free natural flowing of a river. But in the end, that's just a nitpicking situation of a course design on one hole, but the design of the hole in itself is something that I really liked. So that's going to cover this course. I definitely encourage you all to go play it, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button below, like this video, fill up the comment section if you're really enjoying the way that I'm going about these reviews. If you don't like the way that I'm going about these reviews and you actually think that I should go back to playing the entire 18 holes so you get a full feel of the course, definitely let me know, and we can figure it out as we go. This is only just a development. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next time. Have a happy holiday.